I'm so hungry. Oh. Mm. A motherfucker. Shiba. How you guys doing, by the way? Peine and Seinsu. Oh my god. So hungry. Leo. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. Should probably get some food first. Give me a sec. Um. No coffee today? No, it's still it's still Thursday. I didn't drink coffee yet. Oh my god. I know, man. I know. What the hell? More coffee in my vein. Honestly, true. Stupid day. I don't know what to showcase, so I'll just showcase this. Oosh. Did this? How you doing, by the way, Pin? Hopefully you're doing fine. Question man. Oh, rehearsal. The stage event. What is a stage event? Like on stage? This sounds pretty cool. Just to hold you back, you can crush away. What's wrong with my internet? There we go. We having the quizzes, handling, bringing the prizes, and all the behind-scenes stuff. Ah, quizzes. What do you mean by quizzes? Doing quiz stuff? Oh. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Don't cry. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm gonna have like audience quizzes of those guess the anime star figurine who got it. Ah, those. That's pretty cool. Oh, kind of miss some convention stuff. It's been a while. It's the last time I attended some. Everything I wanted to say. And trust to be lying, but someone's short in day. Everything I wanted to say. I've been selling metal. I've been sold to myself. I do not remember. But in charge just overlook who can raise the hand fast and also probably calm the audience. The one I'm not looking forward to is the final stage. The staff cosplayer in front gonna dance bling by. That's interesting. You guys rehearse the dance as well? That seems fun. I've been tossed to the bank, given everything I wanted to say. I'm silent middle, answer to myself. I've been tossed to remember everything I wanted to give. That's cool. I mean, hey, that seems fun. I'm not gonna lie. It seems pretty fun. Mm. A little bit, yeah. Convention stuff. Actually, never really like tried to do some of that stuff, like work as a staff and shit. Seems fun. Show me how. So far, it's been chill and fun. Yeah, for sure. Those kind of stuff has always been fun. Show me how. I do. I think there's another convention going on later this year for me. Maybe I'll come. I'll just have to be careful not to overspend, honestly. Ooh. Mm. Mm. You don't love me, baby. Won't you come back? You know I've been waiting. When I see you face to face, Okay, nice transition. This playlist, man. I've got a blood trail red and the blue. Something you say, oh, something you do. Oh, sorry. You've got my body, flesh and bone, yeah. The sky above, the earth below. Raise the again. Take me to the edge. I want to see the other side. Other side. I don't know where I'm going with this. Flesh and bone, sky above. I always. I never skip skill up. Not a day, not a month, not a year. To see the other side. Won't you show me what it's like? It's probably gonna talk about the stuff that's already kind of hot past week, like the Ubisoft or the Ubisoft Star Wars. I mean, and all that kind of stuff. Hmm. Yep. Concord. The classic. The tragedy. Sadga. If it's gonna talk about Dustborn, that one. Yeah. Yep, that one. Son from God. That one is not even like a forced DEI game. That shit is like, I mean, that's not like the baby game. That is like straight up like the DEI themselves. The forced DEI. Bit of an awkward, not gonna lie. I've got a river running right into you. I've got a blood trail right into blue. Something you say or something you do. The taste of the divine. You've got my body, flesh and bone. The sky above, the earth below. Something you say, I know where to go. The taste of the divine. I love the sales for DI games going super dark. Yeah, no, like I understand with the DEI stuff, but the problem is the forced DEI stuff. That's the one where it's starting to feel a little bit cringe. You know what I mean? Like you want to share some more incentive and diversity, go ahead. But when you make it forced, come on. That's the problem. Uh, I got it. Flee through spaces, see you drifting past the fog, but no one told you where to go. This damn bots. Yeah, I don't know where it's coming from. To crystal waters, perfect oceans. Told me not to breathe. Oh, shit. Hold up. I got a call. Alright, I'm back. Alright. Was it a call? Okay, not that one. Kind of don't want to continue this one. Kind of like it as it is. Kind of cozy. Bah? Bahwa. Like "but" has become part of my vocabulary now. I've really been using for no reason. Nice. Welcome. Meh. I do use it as well. Buh. Yo, this gal cute. Oh my god. I'm not. I can. I think Cattier immediately improved the quality. Oh my god. So cute. It's so cute. Oh wait, I'm not muted anymore. Shit. Oh my god, I'm so tired. Yeah. Change the text. Hold up. Outline. Da-na. Oh, there is a background opacity. Oh. Then why does your soul feel glad today? You're not the one, then why does my head fit yours? Can barely see that shit. Return my call. You're not mine, but I have the strange. Never know what the future brings, but know you're here with me now. You'll make it through, and I hope you are the one I share my life with. I don't wanna run away, but I can't take it. I don't understand. If I'm not made for you, then why does my heart tell me that I am? Is there any way that I can stay? I don't need you, then why am I crying on my bed? If I don't need you, then why does your name resound in my head? Not for me, then what is stands made alive? You're not for me, then why do I dream of you? It's my life. And I wish that you could be the one I die with, the one I built my home. I hope I love you all my life. I don't wanna run away, but I can take it. Don't understand. If I'm not made for you, then why does my heart tell me that I am? Is there any way that I 'cause I miss you. Body and soul so strong that I guess pray for me. I breathe you into my heart and pray for the strength to stand today. Oh my god, I'm gonna sneeze. Okay. No, my heart is by your side, but I can't take it. I don't understand. If I'm not made for you, then why does my heart tell me that I am? Is there any way that I can stand in your eyes? Okay, I gotta call again. Give me a sec. It's a good song, by the way.
All right, I'm back again. Sorry, had some call with my mom. Jesus, why is the song just goes into the fucking sad song list, man? The hell. I remember when I first smelled that you like. We was down in the restaurant, not waiting for a chat. We were met off earlier that day, with no strings attached. I can tell that something strange that you looked at me down. Crystal, come right back. I've been waiting for you to sit back in bed when you light the candle. 1 second. And no one else. Crystal, come right back. I've been waiting for you to slip back in bed when you light the candle. Alright, I think I'm ready for some gaming. Been waiting for you. back in bed when you light the candle. I like this girl a lot. This is pretty chill. Alright, give me a sec. Let me grab my food. All right. Actually, hold on. Ah. Keep playing some Indonesian song. Okay, Jigs is AFK, unfortunately, so I'm all alone. But it's okay. We're gonna play some games. After, let me upload this shit real quick. Is a rock on a mountain, gonna take Drugs are taking over this island. Made it on a rapture. Singing we keep your voices down. Change it to the house. To the Daily Mail. Together, together. You made a vigil. You made a mistake. Sheila. Yes. Give me a second. Through the gate. Through a lion and away. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Where's the truth? Right here in line. Mm-hmm. 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 Oh my god. All right. Oh, okay. Ooh. Hmm. This is a very random fucking yo. This is a very old fucking. I never meant to make you cry, but tonight I'm cleaning out my closet. I never meant to hurt you. I never meant to make you cry, but tonight I'm cleaning out my closet. I cannot put it there. I just put it here. Whatever. Let's not move it around. All right. Oh my god. Yeah. Okay. I don't want a friend. I want my life into waiting to get back. Waiting for you. Waiting for you. Chill up! When I'm around, slow dancing in the dark. Follow me, I'll end up in my arms. In a little your mind. I don't need no more time. Can you? Can you?
Ooh, that's bad.
We should be complete. You should be with him, I can't compete. Skill up. Can't you see?
Absolutely huge.
I don't wanna slow down in the dark. I got around. Just hear my voice to you. Alright, sorry. Song's too good.
Month for this video sponsor, Nvidia. They announced a ton of stuff at Gamescom, including the fact that there are now over 600 games enhanced with the power of Nvidia RTX, including recent releases like Black Myth Wukong and upcoming titles like Indiana Jones and The Great Circle.
Whoa.
Stick around to the end of the video to learn more about how Nvidia's hardware and technology will transform the way you play.
Gamers!
I am back from Germany, and with Gamescom out the way, it's time to get ready for release season. The next 2 months of the year, where basically every game hoping for some of that sweet holiday dollar releases. That's why September alone is serving up Astrobot and Space Marine 2 and Plucky Squire and Frostpunk 2 and a new Zelda game and so much more that I can't even list it here. Of course, I don't know how we're going to fit all that in given how much Concord we're all playing at the moment, right? Right? Oh my god, that thing that absolutely everyone said would happen has actually happened. Concord is a total flop, though to be honest, I don't think anyone could have predicted just how much of a flop it would be. The response to Concord's initial reveal was a harbinger of its eventual fate. There was a lengthy cinematic that felt like if DC produced Guardians of the Galaxy instead of Marvel. Back then, people were unmoved by developer Firewalk's earnest attempts to invent a new sci-fi universe because, generally speaking, it felt like a worse version of a universe we'd already seen. The fact that the game was a hero shooter didn't help drum up any additional excitement, since that's a genre that feels played out unless you've got some really big IP to back it up, like Marvel Rivals does, or a unique spin on the formula, which Concord most certainly does not. The closed beta for the game surely had Sony's executives questioning whatever golden parachute Jim Ryan got when he headed for the door. It was clear that things weren't headed in the right direction. A subsequent open beta the following weekend should have delivered substantially bigger numbers, but capping out at just 2,500 concurrent players when there was absolutely no asking price and no strings attached felt like a real death knell for the game. Sure enough, Concord launched this past week exclusive to PS5 and PC. We do not have any PS5 player numbers, but we have little reason to suspect they'd be substantially better than what we're seeing on PC, and what we're seeing on PC is catastrophically bad. Concord peaked at just 697 concurrent players on Steam, and since then those numbers have been dropping like a stone. I wrote this script on the plane back from Germany, and last I saw the game was hovering at around 200 concurrent players from a 24-hour peak of just 473 people. So those numbers are low at first glance, but it's not until you compare them to other flops that you realize just how low those numbers are. The day before, for example, remember that one? That was an obvious scam. Take a guess how many concurrent players that peaked at. 38,104. Suicide Squad, that was a real clanger, right? Surely couldn't be much more than 700 people playing that one at a time, right? Wrong. 13,459 people. Redfall, the single worst AAA release of 2023. No way that broke 1,000 players, right? 1,560 concurrent players peak. Golem, please, for the love of God, tell me that Concord managed to get more players than one of the worst games released this past decade. Sadly, and rather unbelievably, no. Golem peaked at 758 players. As one person on Twitter said, Golem won the argument. Sometimes it's funny to point and laugh when a game fails, because maybe it's a lazy, cynical cash grab that deserves to fail, or maybe its problems were just so numerous and so comical that you could not but laugh. But more often than not, seeing games flop like this is genuinely sad, because
It's
dozens
sad.
or hundreds of passionate, hardworking people work their asses off for years to make a thing, and then that thing bombs so badly that it sets records for all the wrong reasons. What's particularly sad about this result is that it feels, at least in part, like it could have been avoided. When I played Concord during the closed beta, I was like, okay, there's something here, but it needs more time in the oven, and it needs a new business model. A premium price tag for this game in this market in 2024 was never going to happen, and yet Sony barreled forward toward their planned release date with blinkered determination that almost felt like they wrote Concord off long ago, and were just looking to recoup what little revenue they could from the muted release.
Is anyone
I really
surprised,
do
though?
firmly believe that had Concord been delayed, had its issues
No, I
been
haven't.
fixed, and had it gone free
We'll
to
watch it
play,
later.
it would have stood a chance of capturing at least some market share, and that might have been just enough of a foothold to allow Firewalk to begin scaling that live service mountain. Now, we're in a position where people can't get ranked matches because the player population just isn't there, a reality that Austin himself faced this week while he was trying to review the title. As for where Concord goes from here, it's always dangerous to predict, but the way that Sony has launched this tells me that they don't have any long-term plans for this. You might think, well, just pivot to free-to-play, and that could happen, but that's not just a switch you flick. That is a fundamental redesign of so many game elements, and it's a significant financial investment to get all of that done. I don't imagine that Sony want to put more good money after bad on this one. I expect Concord will be a PS Plus title in October because it helps Sony fill a slot in their monthly lineup, and after that, I expect Concord will be kept on live support before an eventual delisting. I hope I'm wrong, but unlike other tepid live service launches, Concord doesn't deliver a unique enough experience to imagine that there would be a player base fighting for this one, a point Austin covered in his review of the game, which went live on the channel last night.
Cool.
If you'd like to check that one out, I'll leave a link to that below the like button. Sticking with Sony news a little longer, Sony has come up with a rather novel way of exhausting the current inventory of PS5s ahead of the PS5 Pro launch. Raise the price, in Japan at least. That's right, just yesterday Sony announced that the PS5 in Japan would be getting a price hike equal to
Why?
about $90 US, which is a more than 20% increase in the price of the console. It also affects the PS5 DualSense controller, which also jumps more than 20%. Sony put out a blog post explaining it this way,
Jesus.
quote, "Given the recent challenging external environment, including the current fluctuations in the global economic situation and the impact it will have on our business, we have reached this decision," end quote. Now, there's no indication that this price hike will be applied to other territories, but recent sales data suggests that globally, the PS5 is outselling the Xbox 5-1. In a sense, PS5 has won, and with that sort of commanding lead in the console wars, you can imagine that Sony are viewing the question of price hikes rather differently. Still, it must be said that price hikes of any sort were unheard of until this console generation. We all remember it. A console would release and get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, until years later it was only a fraction of its initial launch price. Now it's gone the other way, because get this price hike in Japan is the third price hike this console generation. The pandemic and the resultant global inflation really did a number on the console business, and I don't even want to imagine what the PS5 Pro is going to be priced at if Sony have just increased the price of the base model by 20%. From PlayStation news to Xbox, the big chatter this week with Team Green has been Xbox's doublespeak when it comes to platform exclusivity. Earlier this year, Xbox announced it was bringing 4 games to PlayStation and Switch, those being Pentiment, Grounded, Hi-Fi Rush, and Sea of Thieves. At the time, Phil Spencer positioned this move as a trial and said it didn't signal a broader shift in Microsoft's overall publishing strategy. This was, of course, an absolutely ridiculous thing to say, because of course it signaled an overall shift in Microsoft's publishing strategy, and anyone who thought otherwise was huffing a little too many of those Xbox Series X exhaust fumes. Back then, one of the things that Phil Spencer said was that Indiana Jones was not one of the first 4 games to go multi-platform, and while that was technically true, it didn't sting any less for Xbox owners when last week, Xbox announced that Indy would be coming to PS5 about 6 months after it arrives on Xbox. It also didn't help that the PS5 announcement was presented as like a one more thing type announcement. Like, that's usually where you'd announce a cool surprise, like, hey, we're adding a special mission where you play as old Indy, voiced by Harrison Ford himself. You don't use that one more thing tag to announce, hey, remember how you bought an Xbox because we promised you cool exclusives? Psych! Speaking about the backlash during an Xbox live stream, Phil Spencer said this, quote, "I think us as fans, as players of games, we just have to anticipate there's going to be more change, and how some of the traditional ways that games are built and distributed, that's going to change. That's going to change for all of us. But the end result has to be better games that more people can play. If we're not focused on that, I think we're focused on the wrong things. So for us at Xbox, health of our platform, and our growing games are the most important things, end quote. That is another one of those Phil Spencer answers that provides 100% clarity so long as you're willing to listen to the subtext, but remains vague and opaque if you're only focused on the actual words themselves. At this point, Xbox are trying to have it every which way, keeping stuff like Avowed as an Xbox exclusive, launching Indie as a timed exclusive, and launching Doom Dark Ages as a day one multi-platform release. So it's like, Phil, mate, just come out and say it already. Here, I'll do it for you. Watch. Xbox is a multi-platform publisher and every Xbox game will come to all platforms. See? That wasn't so hard, was it? Obviously, the reason Xbox is so unwilling to say this aloud is that it renders their console rather moot when both PS5 and Switch are still pursuing exclusive-focused strategies. That's why right now, PS5 is outselling Xbox 5-1. There's just no need to buy an Xbox when you know you can already get all of their games on other platforms, and while a focus on software publishing may be great for Microsoft's bottom line over the medium to long term, it's cold comfort for Xbox fans who bought the world's most powerful console, thinking they did so because they couldn't play Xbox games anywhere else. Speaking of world's most powerful console, did you hear that Avowed is locked to 30 FPS on Xbox Series S and X? Jesus Christ, are you kidding me with this? So, first of all, I actually played Avowed while I was at Gamescom, and no word of a lie, I loved it. It was only a small slice, but I was totally picking up everything he was putting down. I'm a fan, and I'll talk more about my impressions in the future. Just after I got out of that demo, I opened up my phone to check on the news, and bam, there it was, an exclusive secured by my friends Mr. Matty Plays and Lord Incognito during their Iron Lords podcast. Avowed was capped at 30 FPS on consoles. Take a listen.
Yeah, I mean, nitty gritty of it, performance is one of the last things we figure out, right? We are core, and I think we've announced this elsewhere, we are core targeting 30 frames per second bare minimum. Like, that's the expectation. You know, it's a first-person, single-player game. You don't necessarily need that 60 frames, and that allows us to get a lot juicier with the effects and lighting and all this other stuff. So it's a trade-off we opted to make relatively early, and we're really happy with that. I mean, the game's running pretty smooth for how, you know, visually dense it is. And that was always our goal. But as far as, like, a greater understanding of performance spec, we're still figuring all that out. It's one of the last things you do.
I don't know if that's a good answer.
So look, I played Avowed on PC, and while I only played a portion of it and cannot judge what the rest of the game might look like, it did not immediately strike me as the sort of game where 60 FPS would be impossible. In fact, its simplified yet vibrant art style almost feels purpose-built to enable higher frame rate performance, so I was genuinely stunned to walk out of that hands-on session and read that headline. It's yet another example of a flagship first-party Xbox game not delivering 60 FPS, despite claims of being the world's most powerful console, and despite the promise of Xbox's Aaron Greenberg that 60 FPS would be the default for most games, with some games pushing as high as 120 FPS. Talk about poorly aged things. As of now, Obsidian have not said whether or not we should expect a 60 FPS mode anytime after launch, so if high frame rates are what you're chasing, you better buy yourself a PC, my friend. Avowed drops February next year. I certainly will be playing it on PC, and like I said, I am genuinely looking forward to it. It was great. A quick lightning round to finish off. The boss of Amazon Games, Chris Hartman, clearly came up through Amazon's book selling division because this dude's got no fucking clue about video games. Speaking to IGN about generative AI and what it will mean for the future of the industry, Hartman belted this one out with feeling, quote, "When we talk about AI, first of all, hopefully it will help us to have new gameplay ideas, which has nothing to do with taking work away from anyone, and especially for games. We don't really have acting. The majority of the team sits in programming, and that's not going to go away because that's all about innovation. If it takes something, it will be really the boring parts," end quote.
Ooh, wow. Okay, that's very painful. I'm not gonna lie. Jesus Christ.
Quote, "Yeah, clearly this guy absolutely knows how games are made. It's good to know he's in the position that he's in." Another weird film adaptation announcement that absolutely no one saw coming or even asked for. Ever heard of Ruiner? If not, I can't blame you. It's a fairly solid but niche indie action game that almost looks like an official Judge Dredd spin-off. Well, for some reason, a bunch of folks are making a movie based on it, and not just any folks. Wes Ball is set to direct. He's the guy currently working on the Legend of Zelda movie, and it's being produced by Story Kitchen, who are also working on adaptations of Dredge, Vampire Survivors, It Takes Two, Streets of Rage, and more. Kind of seems like this production house is biting off a little more than they can chew, but we'll soon see, I suppose. Some quick sales numbers to top you off. Black Myth Wukong has now sold through 10 million units, which has also put it at the #2 most concurrently played game in the history of Steam at 2.4 million concurrent players. It's unlikely to unseat PUBG, which holds the #1 spot at 3.2 million players, but it's still an incredible result, especially when paired with the overwhelmingly positive 96% rating that the game currently sits at, with over 350,000 reviews counted. Totally insane. Speaking of Steam reviews, a negative rating hasn't seemed to have hurt Hunt Showdown 1896, which just hit a new peak concurrent player count of over 60,000 players. I actually bumped into quite a few Crytek devs while at Gamescom, and all of them said they were hard at work addressing the feedback they were getting about the controversial UI changes. Wishing them all the best with that, and genuinely happy to know that the game is doing such great numbers, because it absolutely deserves to. That multi-platform Xbox strategy is already paying big dividends for Microsoft, as Sea of Thieves has reportedly just passed 1 million unit sales on PS4. That report comes from Windows Central Jez Corden, who said, quote, "The game is currently selling for $40, so even if you disregard in-app purchases from the Sea of Thieves Emporium, that's at least around $40 million additional revenue, minus platform fees, of course, for Rare to hire and invest in growing that game," end quote. College football, man, you Americans went absolutely nuts for this. It's typical for a Madden game to sell well, but college football has just unseated Helldivers 2 as the best-selling game of 2024.
What the fuck? People play this game? Wow. To dethrone Helldivers is actually insane. And it's on all platform. Jesus. Gamblers.
Of 2024, industry analyst Matt Piscatella had this to say, quote, "Launch month dollars sales of EA Sports College Football 25 more than tripled the total lifetime dollar sales of the previous best-selling college football game, NCAA Football 07, end quote. With those sorts of results, I'm very sure that EA are hard at work on an ambitious sequel that, I don't know, updates the roster and adds some in-game crypto commercials or some shit. I don't know. And finally, did you hear about this multi-million-dollar Pokemon meth bust? The South China Morning Post reported that a Pokemon card shop was actually a front for a crystal meth lab, and upon raiding it, the police seized over $1.3 million worth of product. The guy who owns the store apparently agreed to start fronting in order to get some extra cash. But my brother in Christ, you run a Pokemon card shop. You were already in the business of selling dangerous, addictive, regularly prescribed products with insane profit margins and ruinous impacts on society. So I feel like this was just greedy doubling down, and you absolutely deserve what was coming to you. So what got announced or delayed this week? Well, quite a bit actually, which is a genuine surprise given that the week after major gaming events is a bit of a black hole when it comes to new announcements. Speaking of events though, Tokyo Game Show is right around the corner, and a bunch of publishers have started talking about what they'll be showing there, like Capcom, for example, who have confirmed that they will be showing Dead Rising Remaster, Monster Hunter Wilds, and a bunch of stuff they've already released. Sony have said they'll be helping to host whatever Death Stranding 2 stuff Kojima plans to show off. No mention of a PS5 Pro reveal at TGS, but yes, I can confirm reports about the PS5 Pro being a kind of open secret at Gamescom that everyone was just generally chatting about. Everyone knows it's on the way, but no one could provide any specifics on when it's coming. If Sony were hoping to make the holiday window, then a TGS reveal would make a hell of a lot of sense, so stay tuned. Lost in Random was an EA original title from a little while back that got a solid reception, but luckily didn't sell a boatload. As such, the developer signed a new deal with Thunderful Games to publish the sequel titled Lost in Random: The Eternal Die, where the first one was a narrative-driven action game. This one's actually an isometric roguelike, a subgenre that very much fits within the whole dice roll theme. No date for this one yet, but it's headed to all platforms bar Switch next year. This next announcement is 100 million% aimed at me. Growing up, Heroes of Might and Magic was my strategy game of choice, but it's been eons since the last entry in the franchise. That's about to change with the announcement of Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era, an entirely new mainline entry in the franchise aiming to bring it into the modern era. It promises to be built on existing old-school Might and Magic design principles, while also incorporating new ideas like active abilities for heroes and creatures, a faction-based perk system, and unique playstyles for each faction. It's being developed by a studio called Unfrozen, who previously put out Eratus, Lord of the Dead, which is a very solid turn-based tactical RPG. I'm just super glad that Ubisoft haven't forgotten about this one, and funnily enough, it'll be the second ever Ubisoft game to be launching into early access when it launches in the first half of next year for all platforms bar Switch. Eternal Strands is one I really recommend putting on your radar. It's made by a team of AAA veterans, including Mike Laidlaw of BioWare, who led up the Dragon Age franchise before his departure. It's an action RPG with a focus on physics, allowing you to pick up and hurl objects, create gravitational vortexes, light stuff on fire, create ice walls, and tons more. I played this while I was at Summer Games Fest after Ben Starr recommended it to me, and I came away super impressed, so much so that I actually asked the team to send me a build so I can play some more of it at home. This team lost their publisher when Take-Two shuttered Private Division, and so now they are self-publishing, and I hope it comes together for them. It's hitting all platforms bar Switch sometime early next year.
Good luck for
Redacted
them.
is the actual name of a Callisto Protocol spin-off being developed by Striking Distance Studios, the team that made the Callisto Protocol. This one isn't a survival horror though. Instead, it's a fast-paced top-down action roguelike with a very punchy art style. The studio is working on a bigger project at the same time, so this seems to be something to tide them over.
Are you
In the meantime,
serious?
It's dropping pretty soon too, October 31st for all platforms bar Switch.
Callisto
Here's one Edmund was particularly
Protocol.
excited about. Back in the days of the PS1 and Dreamcast, there was a series called Tokyo Extreme Racer. It was about the freeway racing scene with stuff like impromptu head-to-head battles well before Need for Speed were doing it. That series has been dormant for 18 years now, but suddenly, somehow, Tokyo Extreme Racer has returned. It's being developed and published by a studio called Genki, and there's no release date for it yet, but it's exclusive to PC sometime next year. Spirit of the Samurai is one we profiled a few weeks back in our Put This On Your Radar segment, an absolutely stunning looking 2D action game with plenty of cinematic flair. Previously announced, this one now has locked in a Northern Fall 2024 release date, still exclusive to PC. Adam Fall was one I was really bummed to have missed out on when I was at Gamescom. It's the next thing from Rebellion, the studio behind the Sniper Elite games, only this one is way different since it's a survival action game set in Britain after the apocalypse, so basically just present day Britain. This one had been previously announced, but at Gamescom the developers confirmed a March 25th release date. I'm chatting with the team right now, so hopefully I can get my hands on it and give you a preview over the next little while. Risk of Rain 2 is still goated, and as of yesterday it's officially available for PS5 and Xbox Series consoles. Enjoy yourselves. Risk of Rain 2 is very special indeed, especially that soundtrack. The Dark Pictures Directive 8020 is the next thing from Supermassive Games. We missed it last week because it was revealed during the Opening Night Live pre-show, but it was being shown behind closed doors at Gamescom, and while I didn't get in on one of those appointments, I spoke with a bunch of people who did, and they were all buzzing about it, the vibes being very reminiscent of John Carpenter's The Thing. No date for this one yet, but it's arriving sometime next year. And finally, one big announcement this week that almost seems cruel given its proximity to Concord. Valve has officially announced the existence of Deadlock, their next game release and the next game from creator Ice Frog, the person who made Dota 2. That last part matters because this is through and through a MOBA, one that borrows far more from Dota and League of Legends than it does Overwatch. The game has been playable for quite some time across various closed tests, and the feedback has been near universally positive. People really do love this shit, and the player numbers back that up, with the game peaking at nearly 90,000 concurrent players. That's got a sting, given that Concord wasn't able to achieve even 1% of that in its launch week. Deadlock is very likely going to be free to play upon its release, but for now it's invite only. If you're looking for an invite, best to head over to Reddit to see if someone has a spare invite laying around. 2 delay announcements this week. The first was for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, which has been delayed for the 4,835th time. It was scheduled to arrive later this year, but will now slip into 2025. Paradox putting out a statement saying, quote, "Earlier this year, Paradox reaffirmed our commitment to delivering high-quality games to our players, and the launch update is a proactive decision derived from this commitment. Though the game is in a good enough place that we could have maintained our planned release window, Paradox and the Chinese Room collaboratively decided to prioritize polish. The Chinese Room and Paradox will continue to post frequent updates, including dev diaries, deep dives, and more," end quote. Yet another setback for beleaguered publisher Paradox. Seems like these guys really can't catch a break. The other delay announcement is one I actually saw coming. Hyperlight Breaker is the next thing from Heart Machine, the studio behind Hyperlight Drifter and Solar Ash. I played Breaker at the Summer Games Fest early this year, and while I thought it had some good elements, the package wasn't quite coming together as it had in their previous releases. Now the studio has announced that the game will miss its intended 2024 release after having missed its initial intended 2023 release date. The studio had this to say, quote, "We don't want to ship a project, even in early access, that we're not satisfied with on a number of fronts, especially in the current state of the industry. We need to put as good a foot forward as we can," end quote. Totally fair enough. One game cancellation this week, and it's for Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, the mobile game Nintendo released back in 2017. Back then, they made a huge push and were going to eventually retire a number of their mobile titles, and this is the most recent one to bite the bullet. Interestingly though, Nintendo are not leaving existing players high and dry. The Big N will be developing an offline version of the game which will be compatible with existing save files, so all the work you might have put into your little town or island thing doesn't completely disappear into the live service ether. That is an extremely cool move, and it would be nice to imagine a future where all games are guaranteed to exist after their official support ends, but let's be real, that is highly unlikely. So what came out last week? Well, other than Concord, which we have well and truly covered at this point, there wasn't a whole lot. World of Warcraft: The War Within arrived for PC, the first in a trilogy saga that will presumably span upwards of 6 years. First impressions for this one seem to be universally positive. A lot of praise from media, content creators, and punters about the launch. IGN's review in progress is up, and it reads thusly, quote, "I have a very good feeling about this one, guys. From the story to the environments to the new features, this is World of Warcraft firing on all cylinders. I'm not utterly blown away or anything that hyperbolic, but compared to the last expansion's launches, the warm glow of a new adventure is hitting different this time," end quote. Austin is currently reviewing Guild Wars 2, but he also likes him some WoW, and given that we'd really like him to sort of specialize in MMO reviews and coverage here on the channel, he will be reviewing The War Within very soon after that, so do stay tuned for that one. Tactical Breach Wizards was our Put This On Your Radar title from last week, and not to boast, but boy can we pick him, because Tactical Breach Wizards is currently sitting at 98% overwhelmingly positive on Steam, with over 1,000 reviews counted. It seems to have achieved that rare task of being an indie title that breaks through the noise, as various social feeds are all buzzing about how good this is. Critics too are putting it at a strong 87 on OpenCritic. Eurogamer went all in on this one, scoring it a perfect 5 and saying, quote, "Suspicious Developments latest builds a witty, wonderfully generous adventure around a smart, rewarding, and endlessly
Damn, these guys
imaginative
winning.
tactics core," end quote. And GameSpot scored it an 8, saying, quote, "Tactical Breach Wizards definitely blends deep tactical gameplay that rewards experimentation with sharply written dialogue and characters bursting with personality," end quote. If you're looking for the next indie darling to impress your friends with, then this is surely it. So what's coming out this week? Big week actually, with a nice spray of genres to keep everyone happy. Kicking things off is Akimbot, a cute little 3D platformer action game that has a lot of Ratchet and Clank energy. I did briefly play this one and I had a nice time with it. Seems like a good one for the kids, or if you yourself are into that old school charm. It's out tomorrow for all platforms bar Switch. Emio the Smiling Man is the latest entry in a franchise going back over 40 years. Nintendo decided to bring this one back for reasons unknown, but hey, always interesting to see Nintendo dip their toes into more mature content. Rip Conker, we've never forgotten you. Emio the Smiling Man is a visual novel with some light puzzle solving and detective elements. Edmund played a little of it and quite enjoyed the vibe it was establishing, but yeah, you do need to be in the mood for a visual novel experience, since this one isn't offering a whole lot on the gameplay front. It's exclusive to Switch, of course, and it's out tomorrow. Gundam Breaker is yet another Gundam game. This one has a mix of single-player combat missions and online co-op, all of it with a big focus on customization, as you'd expect from a Gundam game. It's out tomorrow on all platforms bar Xbox. You thought it was just a meme, but it turns out it's a real boy, or more accurately, a real squirrel. Squirrel with a Gun arrives tomorrow, exclusive to PC, channeling a lot of that Goat Simulator magic. Squirrel with a Gun is a sandbox-led experience.
Maybe you should try
a
this
rodent
one.
with a firearm and all the chicanery that entails. I do not expect this to be good, but I do expect to see some funny clips on TikTok, and honestly, sometimes that's more than enough. Visions of Mana is the first new entry in the classic RPG series in over 18 years. Unsure what possessed Square to revisit this one now, but the previews for this one have all been very positive, and the gameplay out there looks lovely. It's arriving tomorrow for all platforms bar Switch. Biggest release of the week is no doubt Star Wars Outlaws, which makes the jump to launch speed on the 30th for all platforms bar Switch. Reviews for this one are actually already out, and they paint a pretty mixed picture of a game that's likely to be enjoyable for Star Wars fans, but probably doesn't have too much to offer everybody else. Right now it's sitting at a strong 77 on OpenCritic, but there's a lot of spread in those scores. Gene Park from the Washington Post, for example, quite enjoyed it, scoring at 3 out of 4 stars and saying, quote, "Outlaws juggles many priorities on its way to appease a fickle, frustrated Star Wars audience. I know what I'm doing," she assures a worried comrade. Like Kay, Ubisoft may stumble here and there, but it knows what it's doing," end quote. On the other end of the spectrum is stuff like the Eurogamer writer, which scored it 2 out of 5 stars and clearly didn't have much affection for it. Quote, "The result is a series of quite painful comparisons. It lacks the branching, open stealth of an Arkham game, the systemic options of a Dishonored, or the incisive, relentlessly satisfying speed of picking enemies off in Assassin's Creed. It lacks the linear polish and charisma of Uncharted, lacks the animation flow to its yellow ledge platforming next to a Horizon, or the sheer joy of taking platforming and making it into an actual game in itself in Star Wars Jedi. And somewhat nightmarishly for Ubisoft Massive, which couldn't have known about this when committing to it at the time, Outlaws opts to tell a Star Wars high story in a world after Andor, which has already done so with such sensitivity, humanity, and precision that K&Co's cameo-ridden non-event is unfortunately left feeling light years behind," end quote. Ouch. I'm actually working on this one at the moment since I played a bunch of it on my laptop during the flight home. I'm still making up my mind about where I'm landing on all this, but I definitely have some issues with it, for sure. I'm kind of hoping that the ending delivers a sort of crescendo that I'm hoping for. I don't know though. Either way, I'll let you know exactly what I think about it after I've rolled credits. Sumerian 6 is the next thing from Devolver Digital, a real-time stealth action game. If you're into that sort of thing, it arrives September 2nd, exclusive to PC. The casting of Frank Stone is really interesting for a bunch of reasons. Firstly,
We gotta
it's
play
being
this
made
next
by
week.
Supergiant, the studio behind Until Dawn, The Quarry, and that new project they were showing off at Gamescom this year. Secondly, it's being published by Behavior Interactive, the studio behind Dead by Daylight, and the reason they're publishing it is that the casting of Frank Stone is actually a spin-off set in the Dead by Daylight universe. It's a single-player survival horror game aiming to broaden out the Dead by Daylight world, and it's just kind of awesome to see Behavior pushing into this territory. If you're at all interested to check it out, it arrives September 3rd for all platforms bar Switch. Harry Potter Quidditch Champions is, I guess, the reasons why Hogwarts Legacy didn't have any Quidditch in it. It's a totally separate standalone experience that allows you to experience the thrill of broom riding from the comfort of your couch. It's got single player as well as 3-player online co-op, but no mention of PvP, which seems rather curious when we're talking about a sports adjacent game. Regardless, I'm certain this will
There's
sell a
no
truckload.
way.
It's hitting all platforms bar Switch on the 3rd.
Doesn't have
And
PvP.
finally, ever dreamed of being a space trucker who didn't get assigned to the Nostromo? Well, you might like Star Trucker, a new game about hauling big loads across the vast expanses of space. These sorts of games are disgustingly popular in their terrestrial forms, so there's every reason to suspect that an interstellar version will be equally as popular. It's all about avoiding asteroids, managing your fuel levels, and just listening to your radio, so if that sounds like your warp speed, it's hitting all platforms bar Switch on the 3rd. One other game dropping this week that we haven't talked about yet, and it's one that Edmund is particularly excited about. Tell you what, Edmund, why don't you put this on their radar?
Oh?
Hey, are you old enough to remember when Konami was a really great video game publisher? And remember how they left their great franchises like Castlevania and Suikoden to just completely languish, leaving their original creators to go make spiritual successors instead? Well, here's another one, and it's really good. It's called Bakaru, and it's a spiritual successor to a very long-running Konami series called Ganbare Goemon, a combat platforming series that goes all the way back to the NES and is known for its deep roots in Japanese folklore mixed with a goofy Japanese sense of humor. It had over 20 entries and multiple anime and manga adaptations, but only a very small handful of the games made it to the West, where they were translated as Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. But they absolutely ruled. The N64 games were excellent and they're regarded as cult classics that introduced Western audiences to the bizarre side of Japanese culture at a time where we didn't really have the internet to discover that stuff. Bakaru continues that legacy very well. It's a really vibrant and cheerful 3D combat platformer, bursting with personality and humor, and set in a bizarro modern Japan. It's got almost 50 stages, with each representing a specific region in Japan, full of very specific cultural references and an endless stream of weird trivia. Now, this is developed by the Japanese studio Good Feel, which is a Nintendo second-party studio that made games like Princess Peach Showtime, Kirby's Extra Yarn, and Yoshi's Woolly World. So that'll give you a pretty good idea of how polished and well put together this game is. It's got simple but satisfying combat, good stage variety, a banging soundtrack, and it's just really fun to look at. And the founder and CEO of Goodfeel is a guy called Etsunobu Ebisu, who was one of the main creative forces behind the Goemon series at Konami. In fact, Goemon's old sidekick Abyssimara is directly based on him. So I was very excited to see this one get translated for the West, and I've been having a ball with it. So if you have any fondness for 90s 3D platformers or just need some joy in your life, put this on your radar. It's out on September 3 on Switch and Steam. If you do want to check it out, go visit the Steam Curator page where we've profiled this game and all the other Put This On Your Radar titles.
Sort of free stuff time now, and Epic's Excellent Week is currently live with Uncle Tim handing out Gigantic Rampage Edition and Callisto Protocol, a very good price point for a deeply flawed but still interesting game. Grab them quick though, because later this week they'll be replaced by Wild Card Football, a low-stakes American football game that somehow incorporates cards and power-up abilities, so think Slay the Spire meets NFL Blitz and you're most of the way there. The Game Pass refresh is live, and there's definitely some stuff worth talking about. Most notable perhaps is Atlas Fallen, which at launch was not a good game. The developers have just shipped a major overhaul that reworks big chunks of the core gameplay, plus they've enlisted the very talented Ben Starr to re-record all of the voice lines in this game, since the previous voice work really wasn't doing much at all. A very unusual move to replace your voice talent after a game is live, but hey, desperate times and all that. Outside of that, Game Pass also serves up Core Keeper and Star Trucker, both of which are day one new releases. And don't forget the COD Black Ops 6 Early Access Open Beta is live on August 30th. Only other thing to shout out this week is something a little odd with the PS Plus catalog this month. Horizon Forbidden West has just been removed. It comes as Horizon Zero Dawn was removed some time ago amid speculation that Sony were about to announce a remaster, with the PS5 Pro rumors swirling about. Could this be a lead into a sort of remaster package featuring both games? I guess we'll find out soon. Our
Come
Feel Good Story for the week
on.
is broadly adjacent to my Gamescom experience. As I was sitting having a pizza with Ben Starr, true story, a dude came up to me and he was like, "Hey, what's up? I watch your content." And I'm like, "Cool, appreciate that. What brings you to Gamescom?" Turns out he works for a studio called Face Punch, the studio behind Gary's Mod and Rust. We were chatting about this and that, and eventually he was like, "Oh yeah, and Adele came to our studio the other day." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" He told me that Adele visited his studio's offices because her son is a fan of Rust. So Adele just called them up and was like, "Hello, it's me, Adele.
Stop.
Can I please come to your office because my son really likes your video game?" And of course they said yes, because you want to meet Adele, right? Like, of course you'd say yes. The studio posted proof of it on LinkedIn of all places. Adele, her son, and a bunch of people from the studio just thinking to themselves, the last time we heard from a musician, it was the skibbity toilet guy denying that he was DMCA striking us. So this is likely a better brush with fame than that. All right, ladies and gents, we are done. Don't forget to check out Austin's Concord review, which is live on the channel right now. And stay tuned for my Star Wars Outlaws review, which will be live later this week. After that, we're staring down the barrel of Astro Bot and Space Marine 2. So it's going to be a huge couple of weeks on the channel. If you want to be here for it, then be sure to subscribe and ding that notification bell. Don't forget to drop this video a like if you enjoyed yourself. Always appreciate that. Have a fantastic week. Stay out of trouble. And a big thanks to this week's sponsor, NVIDIA.
No. Okay, I'm kidding. Okay.
So I just got back from
Yeah, I
Gamescom.
forgot about
Picking up two of the
Space
sponsors of
Marine.
This video sponsor NVIDIA. They had some very exciting stuff to show me there. For example, I got a behind closed doors look at Black State, a game that is at the absolute cutting edge of visuals, supported in large part by RTX ray tracing and NVIDIA DLSS, promising smooth performance while allowing the development team to push graphical fidelity to its absolute maximum. I got to playtest the upcoming Half-Life 2 RTX. a
Oh,
project that's
right.
almost
I forgot
like a
about the
Half-Life 2
video.
Remaster, given how much
What do you
it
got?
transforms the experience, adding new textures, lighting, and even
Okay. Ooh. Number creep. Oh, not yet. Woo. Dude, what? Okay. Ichika played a covered creep is like something I never really thought would happen. Interesting. I play guitar on for Chanel's collection. Damn. My dude got called by Chanel. Ooh. That's a very awkward stage. Okay. Whoa. Oh shit, is he doing a runaway with a... Ooh! Damn, while doing a runaway. Oh shit, we got Dancer. What the fuck? Wait, whose vocal is this? What the fuck? Is he speaking French? Damn, he's doing all that while walking around? That's actually crazy. Damn. It's a new single. Interesting. Just casually sit in the crowd. My man. Alright, what's next? Oh
Get
my
that
God.
stuff out of here. Me and the boys are watching some real fantasy. This year, it feels like we've seen a full-on resurgence of fantasy anime. Not soy boys getting transported to another world. No more I got reincarnated as toilet paper. Now I wander the world, letting elf girls wipe me. Oh, it's depressing. I could actually see that being a thing. Just pure, hard fantasy, taking the genre back to its roots with two shows leading that charge. Freerun and Dungeon Meshi, two fantastic fantasy series that shine in completely different ways and have left their mark on the anime community this year. But if you're a fully functioning adult and learned how to count properly in kindergarten, you may notice that this is only two shows taking the spotlight. And as we all know, that is illegal in the anime community. I mean, what are we gonna call this? The Big Two? Yeah, no thanks. I think I'd rather take 2 steps off the Empire State Building. Thank you.
Okay.
Wait, that's taking a bit too far. Because as we all know, everything in the world has to come in threes. Shonen manga, film
True.
trilogies, degenerates. But what if I told you there is a fantasy manga that can stand up to these two shows? A fantasy that excels in something totally different from the hard-hitting story of Frieren or the insane world building of Dungeon Meshi. A series that already has an anime confirmed for 2025, which means, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are on the cusp of a fantasy big 3. That's right, gamers. I'm here to talk about the next big
this
fantasy
this
anime.
show.
Demon Slayer. I mean, Witch Hat Atelier. Atelier? I honestly think this is going to be the next big fantasy show to take over the anime community. But before we get into pure fantasy, first, I want to talk about Isekai again, because this video is sponsored by B. Do anything I want to do when I'm a grown-up. Unfortunately, if you want to do magic, in the world of Witch Hat Atelier, that's a privilege only given to witches, and only a few people in the world can ever become witches. Coco wants to be a witch, because as we all know, witches get bitches. I don't think that's Coco's primary motivation. The closest she's ever gotten to magic is a book she bought from this mysterious witch on the street corner when she was a kid. And just look, remember kids, don't be like Coco. Don't talk to strangers, say no to drugs, and for God's sakes, don't go accepting magic book from shady looking people in the back alley, okay? Especially if that book smells like pee-pee. One day though, her village gets a visit from a real witch, Kifre, who finds himself in a circumstance of having to cast a spell to help out. But before he does, he goes to Coco and tells her, "Okay, Coco, I have a very important task for you. Whatever you do, make sure nobody, I repeat, nobody sees me cast this magic. This is very important. Do you understand?" Coco immediately watches Kifre casting his magic, and what she sees is him drawing some shapes that look eerily similar to some of the patterns in the magic book she has. She thinks, I wonder what would happen if I tried drawing some of these patterns myself. She destroys her house, commits a Class A felony, and turns her mother into stone.
Jesus.
In the industry, we call this an oopsie daisy. With her parent acquiring the new status of Mum the Rock Johnson, Kifre decides to take Coco under his wing in hopes that he could find out more about this mysterious witch that sold Coco that book as she begins her journey into the world of witchcraft and wizardry. Witch Hat Atelier presents itself initially as your typical coming-of-age story in a fantasy world of magic. So you may be wondering, what does this series do to allow it to stand up to the fantasy juggernauts of Frieren and Dungeon Meshi? Frieren gave us a beautiful, introspective tale about the passage of time and appreciating the important things in life while you can that hits harder than most anime ever could. While Dungeon Meshi's world building is some of the most intricate and well thought out I've ever seen, crafting a living, breathing ecosystem that doesn't just feel alive, but you get a sense that it's also fully functional, like you're stepping into a life-size fantasy terrarium. So what does Witch Hat bring to the table? Great art? Got that. Interesting characters? Got that. But the real thing that sets it apart is that, in short, it has one of the most interesting magic systems I've ever seen in anime or manga. A hard magic system that not only lays the groundwork for creativity and imagination, but is also engraved in a core part of the world building to present us with the interesting moral conflicts contained within this story. But most importantly, it's just pretty damn cool. Right, so I'm going to spend the next few minutes nerding out about magic systems, but to do so, I'll have to explain to you how the basics of the system works. So get out your notepads, everyone, because we're going back to school. Hello, class, and welcome to Magic 101, where I'll be teaching you the basics of how magic works in Witch Hat Atelier. Any questions? No, Timmy, you may not go to the bathroom. I don't care if you're desperate, just shit yourself like every other self-respecting kid. In the world of Atelier, magic is cast by drawing seals, which look like this, and these have to be drawn with special conjuring ink, and that's it. No special enchanting, no custom-made Game of 3000 RGB magic wand. All you need is some special ink and the basic ability to draw, which means essentially anyone can do magic, except for me, if you've seen my ability to draw. Yes, even you can do magic, Timmy, if you stop sniffing the conjuring ink. Kids, do not sniff the conjuring ink, please. A basic seal is made of 3 simple parts. The sigil, which typically goes in the center and denotes what kind of magic you're going to be manipulating. You want a fire spell? Draw this. Thinking of casting water magic? Start with this. You got earth, wind, shadow, wood, sword, thunder, power, sleep, card, captures of the cloud, expect the unexpected now. Next up, we have keystones that go around the sigil. These are different signs that denote exactly how the element in your sigil will act. And we've got a boatload of different signs that will determine exactly what form your spell is going to take and exactly how it's going to be controlled. Which is why it's very important that you draw exactly how you want your spell to act. One sign a bit longer than the other? Congratulations, you just bukaked your neighbor next door with some water magic. Need a big gust of wind to send you flying? How about you try drawing a wind sigil with a massive arrow pointing up and you'll be gliding like Genshin Impact. Fuck, of course that's the first thing that came to mind. By combining your different signs, you should be able to craft a spell to do exactly what you want it to do. Oh, Timmy, you understood all that? You tried drawing your own seal? Oh, let me have a look.
Nice.
Timmy, see me after class. And after all that's left to do to complete the spell is to draw a complete circle around it. Because as every witch knows, if you like a spell, you should have put a ring on it. I think it was Dumbledore that said that. And that, kids, is everything you need to know to become a witch and start casting your own spells. Do we have any questions? And Timmy's just shit himself. Great. That's the core basics of the magic system in Witch Hat Atelier, and I thought it was such a genius system because the core building blocks are simple enough that anyone can understand, but by iterating on these basic concepts, it can get increasingly complex that makes you just think about magic in a totally different way. When you have a grasp of the basics, then you can start doing stuff like linking spells for more powerful effects, nested glyphs where you can enclose multiple spells into a bigger spell to get more complex effects, spell toggling where, for example, you draw two halves of a spell on a shoe, then bring them together to complete the ring so you can quickly toggle the spell's effects on and off. Different wands to help witches draw on specific surfaces. From the approaches they take to the tools they use, everything has been carefully thought out, like these tools have been crafted to logically solve a problem if this magic system were to exist. And I have no better way to encompass all this other than saying it's just so fucking cool. This might be a bit of a curveball, but in a sense the magic system here was actually a bit reminiscent to me to coding. God, I never thought my coding course in university 13 years ago would finally come in handy. At its most basic, coding is just a set of instruction built on a few core concepts that you input into a system that interprets those instructions to do exactly what the code tells it.
The artist is probably a programmer because it's kind of feel like it, like a nested spells is like a nested codes. Yeah.
To do. If the code doesn't act the way you envisioned,
Two simple things combined to do something new.
With the code, and then you have to do some debugging. But instead of just searching up your errors on Stack Overflow, I imagine debugging magic seals would be something like, "Oh, hey Timmy, you want me to have a look at your fire spell? It's not doing what you thought it would? Well, you just burned down the entire fucking village, Timmy. Yeah, thanks for that. It's gone. Your mom's dead. Yeah, how about you debug your life choices, Timmy? Oh, you want to learn about loops? Well, how about you loop yourself to the nearest orphanage, Timmy, because that's where you're going." But because... Wait. I just realized I unintentionally just repeated the plot of this manga with fire instead of rocks. But because the logic of this system is so defined, it enriches so much of the world and characters. Because instead of just telling us that this person is a genius witch or this person has a specialized skill set, we can actually see it ourselves through how they approach solving problems with their own knowledge of the magic system. Find it hard to accurately draw bigger seals? Well, maybe by combining the effects of a bunch of smaller seals and linking them together, you can replicate the effect of a bigger seal. Don't have a specific spell you need to identify ingredients in a potion? Well, how about you repurpose a destruction spell you saw earlier, but reverse the seals to conjure up the opposite effect and remake the core ingredients. Like different coders writing a program, there is no singular way to solve a problem, and by setting the rules of the system clearly, it sets the stage to breed creativity in a way that you can appreciate that goes beyond, "This person is a powerful witch because he does magic good." I think the first time I truly appreciated this was when I saw some of the first major battles. See, as a witch, you have several approaches you can take, especially in a battle situation. Now, if you're less experienced, maybe you prepare a notepad with some pre-drawn all-purpose spells. It might not be as specialized for every situation you're in, but they're quick and easy to cast by just circling the spells that you need. Maybe you have a specific battle style where you just engrave the actual spells onto your clothing for permanent effects. If you're a little bitch baby. Now, if you want to see where the true experience and skill gap comes in, this guy bloody walks in and is accurately able to cast spells quickly on the fly without any pre-made books, assess the situation, then while blocking attacks, draws a counter spell with his fucking feet, flies towards the enemy, then based on the shape of his opponent's seal and the environment, is able to correctly deduce the exact way the opponent's spells work and initiates a counter spell based on its weaknesses. And it was at this point I've realized I have not been this engrossed with a fictional power system so intricately crafted since I first encountered Nen. and I do not say those words lightly. But beyond just being a really cool way to show what characters are capable of, it's also from this system that all the major conflicts of this story arises, and we get the interesting moral dilemmas the series presents us with. I think the most interesting concept is the idea that absolutely anyone can theoretically cast magic. Given everything I've just laid out, I'm sure even you can conjure up a spell or two, and there was a point in the world's history where that was the case. However, give everyone unrestricted access to a tool that can help but also cause great harm to the people around them, and I'm sure everyone's only going to use it for the betterment of humanity like real life, right guys? The world was constantly embroiled in war. Spells that did unspeakable things were conceived. Dark rituals, tragic accidents, human experimentation, and other crimes became a normal part of the world. So one day, the leading governing bodies made a pact to change the world forever. Firstly, the entire population would have their knowledge about magic wiped from their memory, with only a few people, aka witches, being given the knowledge of how to cast magic, passing that knowledge down to only a few select individuals. Secondly, certain spells would be outlawed forever as forbidden magic with no exceptions. Spells that greatly alter the environment and spells that are drawn or directly affects the human body, except for memory wipe spells. This is the black and white justice system that governs the world. You have the normal law-abiding witches that uphold the rules of the world, and the shady brimcaps who practice the forbidden magic. Ooh, I don't know why I'm doing this. But as you continue the story, you start to realize, wait, who's got more of a point here? Why are the good witches trying to wipe the memories of innocent kids just trying to help out? Is it fair to keep doctors from practicing what is technically forbidden magic on humans when all they really want to do is to heal people and save more lives? Is it morally okay to keep the knowledge of magic to only a privileged few when it's a tool that can empower the lives of so many people? Cause yeah, magic can be dangerous, but hey, maybe the only thing that can stop a bad witch with a wand is a good witch with a wand. Hell yeah, brother! Seeing our characters trying to find their place in this morally grey justice system is one of the big driving forces of what makes the world and characters so interesting. The magic of Witch Hat Atelier,
Oh my god, the art
is just waiting for its anime adaptation to bring it to a whole new
Oh my
audience. I know I haven't
god.
talked much about the characters or overall plot progression or the amazing art and paneling or just how fantastic the world building is, but I think this is what's going to make it stand out so much, even with the influx of so many amazing fantasy anime we have to choose from right now. It's a series that takes something as ethereal as magic and gives it a sense of tangibility, and yet somehow doesn't take away that sense of wonder and awe. In fact, by allowing me to appreciate the mechanics, it makes the magic of the world even more magical. So yeah, if you need another fantasy world to dive into, go check out Witch Hat Atelier.
Atelier.
Atelier. Oh my god. It's a French word.
Yeah.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you very much this month to Author Curtis Eckstein, Basil, Dysfunctional Degenerate, Flabberwalker,
All right.
Thick, Mike,
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna put that. Oh dude, I'm gonna read the manga.
Shouting Zombie, Walter Geist VT, and
That
everyone
looks-
else, my
that
patrons
looks
on helping
gorgeous.
support this month and making this video possible. Guys,
What?
it feels good to finally get outside of the isekai trash bin and finally eat some good food. I honestly think we are going through a golden age of fantasy anime now, even with isekai.
Amen.
Dungeon Meshi, Freeren, Shoku Tensei, Konosuba, ReZero this year, and next year we're getting Witch Hat Atelier as well. Man, it feels good to be a fantasy fan because we
Oh, is it
are
confirmed
eating
next year?
good nowadays. So yeah, if you want to get ahead of the curve and be like, I liked Witch Hat Atelier before I got an anime, check it out. Anyway though,
Interesting. No, yeah, I got recommended the manga a long time ago by fellow weep friends, but I forget why I never really picked it up. Yeah, it's been a while. To be fair though, it's also been a while since the last time I read any manga at all. So could be because like I just stopped reading manga. Like at all. So yeah. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. All right. It is time for some gaming. Gaming. Jesus Christ, it's 11:30. Fuck me. All right. What the fudge? Hmm. Oh. Mm, do we game? Damn. I did start the stream a little bit late, to be fair. Fudge. All my life into waiting to get there. Waiting for you. What should we play with only this much hour? Dang it. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Give me reasons we should be complete. You should be with him, I can't compete. Where is Jigs? Hello? Dave? Okay. Dude, tell me. I was waiting. I literally would just like dip. Jesus. All right. 2 questions. 1. Atlas Fallen. I was ready like an hour ago. Okay, my Discord is muted when I'm live. So I don't hear that tutung tutung, so I have to manually check every time. So, would be nice to say hi in the chat. But okay. So 1, let me think. Do you want to play? Because I don't know if you want to play. If you don't, it's okay. Just asking. Depends. Yeah, that's the next question. What should we play? Because it's already like 11:30 and like, yeah. I kind of fucked up because I was a little bit AFK for a second. Or by a second, I mean an hour. Also, do you have a Game Pass code access thingy? Still. That, you can just like use it. I don't know if you still. I think I still have it. Because I'm thinking that we could revisit Atlas Fallen after they revamp the game. And it's available on Game Pass. And we could do like a full-blown co-op run on that bitch. That's what I'm thinking. But that's for like the next time. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Saturday, I don't know. Because that game is 30 gigs. Are you interested though? That game? Yes. Do you know the game that I'm talking about? Hold up, let me just show it. So they kind of like revamp Alice Fallen, Reigns of the something. Reigns of Sand.
The life source of our
I did
world
drop this
sleeps
game
and
after only one
stirs.
stream because it's kind of ass.
The gauntlet has been found by an unnamed. For eons, humanity has been slaved to their will. We mine essence until
But
our
this
bodies
Reign of
break
Sand update
and
is
fall.
apparently like a
Come,
proper
gauntlet
update.
bearer.
Like a
The lowest of us are denied even names.
they changed shit up.
Every day they die. And yet Thelos remains indifferent. This
You're not
endless
interested?
cycle will persist into eternity unless someone were to rise from the storm.
Why are so many willing to die for Thelos? I hope we are on the right side of history.
With this gauntlet, you bear the responsibility to break us all free. Long before this world became what it is today, gods walked Atlas. But these were not simpler times.
These creatures, they will not let me leave this place.
New voice cast. I'm gonna be honest, if Skill Up didn't say that this game did a revamped, I would not. I still don't have any interest. But one, it's on Game Pass, it's free. Two, it's a revamp. It's worth a revisit. This is in Game Pass, and because of the revamp, apparently the review went up from mostly positive to very positive. So that kind of interesting. That kind of interests me. The newest patch changed some pretty substantial element to make the game flow better. Not to mention they redid the gauntlet in Y'all's voice with Banstar, who does a great job transforming. Adding much more enemy types, attack loadout option, different encounter types. Yeah, I do like to revisit games that like maybe, did a redemption arc and stuff like that. Just to see what's up. Kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, I mean, if you don't wanna, it's okay. Because I can still play it solo. But if you wanna, we can do the co-op for that one. A scroll with gun is out.
In a world of peace and tranquility,
This is SWAG Morning
homeowners can now hunt
are causing significant power outages.
a hidden truth lies beneath the surface. An ordinary rodent's fate is within his grasp. Now this squirrel is here to eat nuts and shoot some guns. And guess what? He's all out of nuts. Expect sandboxing, puzzle solving, and gun-slinging action in the platform epic you never knew could exist. Hold on to your
Interesting.
nuts. The food chain's got a new hierarchy. Get ready for Squirrel with a Gun. Available now.
We definitely need to try this out someday. Playing something tonight? Yeah, that's another question. What should we play? With fuck, man. It's only 11:30. I hate this new fucking schedule shit. I mean, Valorant have a new update. So there's that. Or we can just do Deadlock. Either way, we probably can only do one game. Which fucking big nut sack. God, this time limit just makes me don't want to fucking play. Man. In September. Monday. So no? So no game? No Valo? One game of Deadlock. It doesn't seem fun, I'll be honest. Sucks. Any ideas? Maybe help me out here. Those type of games. Damn, this is rough.
Yeah, I don't know about that game either. Fuck, man. Yeah, I don't know. Uh, None of them sounds good. Mm. I shouldn't have drawn, man. Yeah, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. Damn. Oh my god. Wish I have more time. Yeah, I wouldn't mind just jump into any of the game. Ba, ba, ba. Yeah. Maybe no games. Ah. It is drums. Is this copyrighted? Sumerian. I mean, shit. Just a peek.
Okay. More than 1 minute. Shit. Okay, that's a banger. Copyrighted. Pretty cool. I didn't know Sumerian also published for this kind of genre. Interesting. Yeah, maybe no gamers. Now that I think about it. Maybe I could just chill here. Don't really have a lot of time left, so... And I kind of want to play like a kind of gaming. So... I guess I'm just gonna chill here, chat. What is this? Evades. What the hell is this? Oh my god, the ping. Press 1 to increase your speed. Yeah, okay. Interesting game. Not sure where'd you find those. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna chill here. I got no games in mind that I'm willing to play right now. So, anyways, thank you guys all for watching. Whatever the fuck this is. I'll be back tomorrow, I guess, with some actual stream that doesn't suck. But until then, thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Much love. Bye bye.